In this lesson, we're going to talk about Nazism and Adolf Hitler and how he took power in Germany. First, you see there's a couple pictures here with Mussolini and Hitler. They were, I guess you could say, friends, but Hitler kind of thought Mussolini was a joke, and he kept him around just long enough. Here we have two pictures of Hitler and Mussolini together. They were friends, but Hitler kind of kept Mussolini at arm's length. I think he always thought he was a bit kooky or a little bit too showy. He realized that he didn't have a lot of substance to him, and later on he would turn his back on him. Now, before we talked about Hitler he was just a regular soldier during World War I. So after the war's over with, he joins a party, and you see the big long name here, the National Socialist German Workers' Party. For short, we call them Nazis, and for good reason, because that's a long name to have to say all the time. The Nazi Party wanted to overturn the Treaty of Versailles and to get rid of communism. Communism was growing, it was spreading in Europe, mainly in the Soviet Union, and they believed that they wanted to get rid of it. Now, the swastika, which you see here, was the symbol that was adopted by the Nazi Party. Now, the swastika was taken from an ancient Indian group that had their symbol that looked like this. Now, at first glance, it looks the same, but if you really look at it, it is a mirrored image of the swastika that the Nazis used, and it means peace. So obviously, inverted, the Nazi swastika means the opposite of peace, or war, or destruction, or evil. And so that was used as their symbol. In 1923, Hitler tried to take power of the Nazi Party, and he was unsuccessful. He was thrown into prison. While he was in prison, he wrote the book Mein Kampf, which means my struggle. Translated means my struggle. And in this book, and it's a pretty hefty book, he sets out the beliefs and goals that he believes Germany needs to reach in order to become a world power again. Also in this book, he talks about the master race, which he believed were the Aryans. We'll talk about that when we get into the Holocaust and World War II. What he believed was the master race were the Aryans, blonde hair, blue eyes. And that's all we'll talk about right now. Another word here is Lebensraum, which is this big long word here. And it means basically elbow room or living space. And he believed that Germany had to expand its borders and to bring in all of the Germans throughout Europe and make them part of this big empire. And so after he is released from prison, he doesn't make a big splash on the scene until a few years later. And so the few years that he's spending trying to work his way back up to the top of the Nazi Party, the economy in Germany goes down the tubes, and he basically makes it known that he has a way to rebuild Germany into the power that it used to be. And so the people basically fall in love with him. So once Hitler takes power of the Nazi Party and of Germany, he instantly turns it into a totalitarian state, which basically means that the Nazi Party is going to rule over everything. Not necessarily him by himself, but the Nazi Party with him at the top of that party is going to dictate what's going on within the country. Like Mussolini, he creates a secret police, which was called the Gestapo here. Um, he also took control of the economy. Instantly, he bans all strikes and unions. So basically, what he's doing is he's the boss of all the factories, and he's going to dictate who's going to work where and what they're going to do while they're working. So while he has power over the economy and over the labor system, he's going to call for the rebuilding of factories, and he's going to put millions of people to work and give them jobs, give them money in their pockets, which is something that for a few years here they didn't have. He's going to start building highways and weapons factories, which we know because of the Treaty of Versailles, Germany could not build weapons factories because that would have been against what the treaty said. And the highways, for obvious reasons, you would want highway system to connect various parts of your country in order to get goods from one side to the other rather quickly. And so basically what he's doing here is he is preparing for war. Another thing he's going to do is say that all males have to serve in the military. So he's, again, going against the Treaty of Versailles and creating a larger military. And you see that he dropped the unemployment rate from 6 million to 1.5 million in just a few years. So, the people loved him because he gave them money, he gave them jobs, he gave them hope, which allowed him to do the things that he's going to do later on. Like Mussolini, he's going to take control of the press, the radio, books, all forms of public media. He is going to turn them and use them as propaganda tools, which we know what propaganda is. He's going to give the people his message through these tools, through film, through movies, through paintings, through books, through newspapers. He is also going to start the Hitler Youth, which was for the boys, and they would go to school and learn how to fight in military, using military tactics that he thought were useful. They would have to learn certain subjects in school. Also, the girls were to join the League of German Girls, and they would do the same thing. They would learn how a proper German girl was supposed to act. Now, one of the key things that Hitler's going to do is he's going to blame the Jews for all the problems that occurred after World War I. So he's going to blame the Jews for the Great Depression that occurred in Germany. Now, obviously, we know that is unjust. In 1933, he's going to pass laws that's going to limit Jewish rights. Those laws were called the Nuremberg Laws. Also in 1933, the first prison camp is going to be constructed. Now, realize that he's doing all of these things when others didn't know what was going on. He was able to hide it from the public for many years. It wasn't really until after World War II was over that the Allies, that anybody in Europe really outside of the Jewish people who were being killed, knew that he was doing this. And one thing we'll talk about later on when we get into the Holocaust is Kristallnacht, which is Night of Broken Glass. It happened on November 9th, 1938, and that marks the beginning of the Holocaust. Again, we'll go into more detail with the Holocaust and what Hitler did to the Jews later on when we get into World War II. So we'll end here for today, and I hope you enjoyed this.